on creep. But now we move over to Derelict Watcher. We've seen some exciting games in WCS America Finals. We'll see if we have that right now. Let's jump into the game. Game number 3 between Sue and Maru. Spawning in the bottom left-hand position, it is the youngest player in WCS Finals, Maru Prime. And his opponent in the top right-hand corner has the red Zerg. Came all the way from Korea, the finalist for WCS Korea. It is Sue. Sue, I do want to say, like, in his interviews all the time, he's very, very confident with his opponents. And it's because he has some of the best practice partners, I would say, in the world. And look what he does on Derelict Watcher. This is so funny. I mean, this makes so much sense. The drone scouting out the third base. What are you looking for? You're looking for proxy barracks because Maru, kind of known for being a little bit of a cheeser.
Yep, it's definitely a good move to do this against Maru, especially in the third game. A lot of times, the final game is the game you actually want to pull out the cheese against your opponents. Just because that's often one of the games you don't expect it, as strange as it is to say. I think when I watch Korean players cheese, it's most often in the last game of a series.
Yeah, it's interesting. It used to be the second game because after you win, you just want to get that quick 2-0 and you have room to move around, but it almost got too predictable in the Korean scene overall. Of course, in the beginning, Wings of Liberty used to be every game. As it stands right now, Command Center first for Maru. And some nice SCVs versus drone micro. Sue gonna have to back up from here. What is his option? Now, there's a couple of things that you can do, and he's looking for the very fast third hatchery before spawning pool.
Yep, and he'll probably make that gas before the spawning pool as well. That's usually what you can go for when you go for this quick third hatchery. And it's the best response against the CC first for him. I guess he's not gonna get that gas before the spawning pool. He should be taking it pretty soon after, just because you're going to want to have either speedlings or roaches to deal with the Hellions. And when you go for a third base this quickly, it's not that easy to do it with only queens.
Well, I was just going to ask you, why is it that you can't do it with queens? Because we see 4 queen openings a lot, and your queens, they do come out maybe 30 seconds later in this period, but is that 30 seconds that important to defend against all the different cheeses that can happen?
You can do it with queens, but when you're spread between 3 bases this early on in the game, if you don't have that link speed and they decide to run by with the Hellions, they can just do so much damage to you. And normally when you go for that 4 queen build and 2 bases and have a later third, you can just kind of defend the entrance to your natural. But in this case, he has kind of 2 entrances he has to kind of defend from any Hellion run-bys. And without any gas, he won't have any speedlings to deal with that either. So Hellion run-bys can be pretty good in this kind of scenario.
That makes a lot of sense. And look at this, Maru throwing down 2 barracks after his expansion. Normally we see the 3rd command center as his excess minerals, but this is going to have a lot of attack, a lot of pressure into the mid-game stage. Overlord is not yet in position to defend against this, or not to defend it, to actually see this coming, but a Marine will sprint over and make sure it's zoning out any Overlord from getting in here to see.
I'm going to say this is the perfect move by Maru. In those 2 previous games, did you notice how late Sue's Baneling Nest was? He wasn't getting that Baneling Nest until incredibly late in the game, until after the lair and after the Mutalisk tech was pretty well on the way. So if Sue goes for that late of a Baneling Nest, against any kind of quick push with Bio and Hellions, it's going to be incredibly tough to hold off.
Yeah, I have to agree. Oh, wow, look at this. Double reactor going down. This is going to be a combat shield timing. Normally, you wait until you have stim up, and then you get stim immediately, and then go for the later reactors. Oh, wait, no. He has enough gas. Oh, it's 2 gas. Wow, that's a really fast 2 gas. So he's going to go starports with this.
Yep, and this is the perfect timing against the style that Sue has played the past 2 games. You need Banelings to defend against a timing attack like what Maru is going to be pulling out in this game.
Man, this is looking so scary. Like, I don't know what Sue can do because he got his gases so late. Just now, for the first time, he has 50 gas. Doesn't even have metabolic boost started yet. So it's going to finish just as Maru starts to move out onto the map, I would say, or maybe it's even finishing at that point. And I'm a little bit worried as the Marine count is coming out here at large numbers per second, or per minute,
and even if the metabolic boost finishes, you kind of need Banelings to defend this kind of timing with Bio and Hellions.
Hellions moving in, killing a couple of Zerglings here. Drone's getting pulled off the line. And wow, he's actually getting some great hits. Maru, he cannot lose these Hellions, though. They're such an integral part of this attack. Oh, gosh. I mean, you need to keep your Hellions alive. If that goes down, then you can a lot of times just be overrun with mass Zerglings. That's not a good position. I think a single eBay goes down.
Yeah, I think he just wants to disguise the timing a little bit more even. Because usually you won't commit in with the Hellions like that if you're doing this kind of timing.
Okay, yeah.
Because you need them with the timing.
That makes sense. eBay goes down in 8 minutes. That's a very key time. This is almost like the flash build that we see a lot of times, where he goes for just mass pressure. He gets a delayed third base, but he's trying to clear up as much creep as possible. We'll see if our Zerg player can hold this off. Baneling Nest on the way. 4th hatchery on the way.
2 Baneling Nest on the way even.
Oh, jeez.
But neither of them is going to finish in time.
That's a big mistake, obviously. And currently, Sue is supply cap. The medevacs are over here, and they can do some really nice damage to begin with. Let's take a look at the units tab. 10 Zerglings out in the field. 5 Queens, though. Maybe he can just hold this off a little bit, but it's very difficult to.
Yeah, and stim is completed as well. If he can stim and get into a nice position with his bio.
And he's going to look to get that cubby position between the minerals and the hatchery. There he goes. And he can potentially take out this third base. The 5 Queens are over here. And now the Zerglings get a great surround on the rest of the units. Hellion's not able to do the correct amount of damage. And Sue will hold this off with flying colors.
Yep, and a nice hold by Sue. A small miss micro by Maru there, and Sue capitalized on it, surrounding those Marines. And with that surround, he could really get that done. This isn't all Maru has, though. He is doing a drop with, I thought I saw a Widowmine in the drop. Don't know what happened to that, though.
There's that Widowmine there.
Oh, okay. So this drop can still do some damage. If he gets a nice Widowmine connection, it can do a lot.
But the main advantage of this build is to gain that massive army. And if he doesn't have that army there, then what does he really have? He's behind in economy right now. He's maybe even in army at this point. And Sue has the power to just overwhelm him. Great Zergling usage right there, and great pickup as well. Now moving into the third yet again. And these Marines and Marauders might get in another great position. Yes, they're going to be tucked into this cubby. Oh, killing the Spire without a cancel. Is there enough, though? Banelings are going to just dissuade those units
drop in the main at the same time.
And that Widowmine is still there. There's no mining with those drones. And this is not looking all too good for Sue. Great Widowmine hit, and he's just going to pick up, even picks up the Widowmine. Wow, beautiful play by Maru.
Maru is just picking Sue apart in this game. It didn't look good for him, but he just pulled in both directions and did pretty good damage on each side of each base rather, with his 2 medevac drops.
Banelings, unfortunately, not controlled all too well. Units, 4 Banelings out in the field. That's not going to be enough. He's targeting all the Banelings down with his Marauders. And now, with some good micro, he just focused fired all of them down. Drilling into that cubby yet again. The Marauders are taking most of the damage. There is nothing of substance to kill these units. The medevac count is so high. Zergling's trying to surround, but he lost every single drone already. Picks up yet again and will be fine. Wow, Maru's playing out of his mind right now, going into the natural base, doing more damage. Widowmine's getting into the third. Might be a little bit of a miss micro there.
Pushing in with units, though, at the same time, so I think he was hoping those would get burrowed in time, but they didn't, so he has to lift up. Still not losing anything, though, and going to drop the main, which is completely undefended at this time.
Zergling Baneling's still trying to track down all of these units, dropping near the Spire, but nothing's going to happen with that. Marines and Marauders, though, at the main base. And they will be picked up yet again.
And Sue's just been getting picked apart this whole game.
God.
Guess how many drones have died so far,
I'm going to find out right now. I'm scared. 49 workers so far. Income tab, 36 harvesters to 65. Maru absolutely slapping his opponent around. Marauders again dropping into the main base. Finally, mutas are out, so he can stabilize a little bit here. But so much damage has been done, so much economic damage has been done, that what can Su actually do from this position? He is picking off a couple of these medevacs, though.
I think Su has to try some kind of counterattack to get some economic damage done to Maru. Because if he doesn't do something like that, I don't know how he can catch him in this game. He's taken so much damage, he has 24 workers now.
That is almost impossible to come back from.
73 drones have died so far this game.
That is absurd. We can all say that is absurd. Maru looking so good in game number 3, poised to take the series and move on to the winner's match.
And this is the worst situation for Su. He has almost no drones, so he has to build drones, but he knows Maru's going to continue to be aggressive, so he kind of needs units too. And he has no money and no income to build anything. It's tough.
And the death march is on the way here. As you said, I mean, only drones in that production tab right now. Wouldn't mind burrowing into place, killing a couple of the creep tumors, but initiating the fight here. Banelings still do not have Baneling speed. And Maru can just keep drilling in. This is what he needs, though. Counterattacks at the third base. They're going to kill a couple of SCVs here, but he needs a lot more to make it into equality.
And without Baneling speed, it's just so difficult for him to be cost efficient against this bio, even on creep.
Marauders are just running amok. I mean, that's what it comes down to. 1-1 upgrade against 0-1 upgrades for the Zerg. And Maru is just playing this perfectly. I mean, his control is pristine. Mutas, Banelings, and Zerg swinging yet again, but the Marauders, they're relentless. They keep poking forward, trying to initiate the fight, and there it is. Banelings, they don't connect on anything, and there's no ground forces here for Su. Maru's just going to push in here with great splits. Mutas don't want to actually engage against this. And again, we're going to see the Marines and Marauders going into the Coven. No, it's not going to, he doesn't even need to. Su calls it GG. And Maru takes it with a convincing 2-1 win in the series. A great performance by one of the youngest players in the professional StarCraft world.
Yep, it was an incredibly